Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video continuing with my reviews for the Dragon Ball Z sagas. Want to wrap them up. So this one we're going to be doing the overarching Cell Saga story arc. You can break it up if you want to, but for the sake of this review, I did Frieza as one, I did the Saiyan Saga as one. Let's go ahead and do the Cell Saga as one. Alright, good stuff. So yes, in fact, today is my birthday. I am 28 years old today. Still watching Dragon Ball Z, baby. You better believe it. So, that's all I'll say about that. I don't know how many years it's been that I've actually, always kind of been interested in DBZ, but even until now, I am. It's the best there is at what it does. I'm not trying to make a Wolverine reference, but no, Dragon Ball Z is the best there is at what it does, even by today's standards. Even up until now, Dragon Ball Z, I think, is the best action fighting type anime ever created. Probably ever will be created in our lifetime, even though, art and stuff gets better all the time. But anyway, with regards to this one, let's get started with the review of this one. So you can break this up into, let's see, 5 parts. Dragon Ball's Wikia has this broken up into the Trunks Saga, the Android Saga, the Imperfect Cell Saga, the Perfect Cell Saga, and the Cell Game Saga. So that's quite a bit, and admittedly, it is a lot of episodes. It's a ton of story involved in this one to just break it up as one saga. So I guess we'll call it an arc, the Cell arc. That's fine. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one between the Saiyan story arc, the Frieza story arc, the Cell story arc, and the Buu story arc. This one's by far my favorite. Out of the big 3 villains, Frieza, Buu, Cell is also my favorite. This saga from beginning to end is so exciting. It starts off exciting. It starts off right after, of course, the Frieza battle with Goku and kind of the race back to Earth. There's the Garlic Jr. saga, if you consider that to be canon, kind of just filler, really. And then, of course, the race back, who's going to get there first. Frieza arrives, you've got a lot of pressure and tension because at that time we didn't think that the DBZ team without Goku would be a match for Frieza, especially he's bringing his dad with him, King Cooler, and at that time we didn't feel that the Z fighters had what it takes in order to beat Frieza. Then, of course, Goku does arrive, but he arrives a little bit late. Not too bad, but a little bit late after the battle is already over. And we get the appearance of Trunks, the Trunks Saga. So I really like what Toriyama did here with Trunks. I really do. I love time travel type stuff. And in stories like this, where you have uber-powered characters, you have crazy technology with outer space and all that kind of stuff, big ships and planets and all. It fits in perfectly with this new DBZ style universe that Toriyama has created. You've got spaceships bringing them to Namek and back and all this different kind of stuff. Does it make sense that someone from the future could come back in the event that the Z fighters were defeated and a capsule corp might come up with some kind of technology to allow that to happen? I think it does. Of course, at that time, we did have the popularity in the late 80s was the Terminator movies and stuff, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a big thing with, Terminators, androids, I guess. And this kind of has, I want to say, almost like a little bit of an influence by that. Now, I don't know for sure if Toriyama was influenced by that at all. But what I'm saying is that it was pretty hot around that time. And, I really think that type of story fits perfect with DBZ. The androids themselves, I think they make a lot of sense. Does it make sense? Because Goku's got a lot of enemies, back from the days of Dragon Ball with the Red Ribbon Army and everything. Even though I don't think Dr. Gero was ever mentioned or was a character in that, as far as I know. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, he wasn't. Does it make sense that a character like Dr. Gero could create, some kind of android type being or creature or whatever you want to call them, that could pose a threat to the Z fighters, that could be that powerful? Well, earlier on, I'd probably say no, but as we go through the story and you see the characters evolve and grow and everything like that, does it make sense that if they were watching, that maybe they could pick up a little bit of what the Z fighters were doing about their abilities, their use of their Kai, things like that, and maybe he could create something like that with technology? Because keep in mind, that's a piece of technology right there. We have time travel, we have all this kind of stuff. I think it fits in really well together. I think it fits in nicely in that, if that type of power was in the Z world, the Z universe, maybe a doctor could tap into something like that. We saw Mecha Frieza, that's supposedly stronger than regular Frieza. Really that huge technology feel. And I personally think it makes a lot of sense for the Z universe to have characters like that would be that powerful. Then going a step further to having Cell, who's a really interesting character that basically feeds and grows off the others and actually is able to absorb them and comes back with Trunks in the time capsule originally, even though we don't know that. He doesn't know that. So I really like it from the beginning to end. The villains are great. I think all the androids are awesome. Dr. Gero himself I actually find to be very creepy. I remember one episode in particular in the Android Saga when, if you remember the first two, there's android Dr. Gero, and then there was android the fat one that absorbs energy. 19, I have to look it up. But you guys know who I'm talking about. The fat one that absorbs energy. Please don't correct me. I'll just look it up later anyway. People always tend to do that when I'm doing videos because I don't like to cut and start again. But anyway, so of course you have the two original androids, one being Dr. Gero, the other one being the fat absorber one. Goku's got the heart condition, so he can't really fight. So we kind of find that out, and that's really interesting as well too. And Vegeta, I thought that was an interesting twist too. That Vegeta steps in. And he's like, just annihilating the fat one. And then the scene where Dr. Gero runs off and they're trying to find him, they're trying to catch him, which goes over a few episodes where he gets back to his base. I think that's really tense and really exciting because they can't detect him, of course, like they can normal fighters and stuff that are alive because he's not real, he's an android. So, I really loved all of that storytelling all the way through up until there. Going on from there, of course, the more powerful androids wake up. We see everything like that. And we get the warnings from Trunks about the future and how things went and all of that stuff. And, battle after battle after battle. Well, Goku's kind of out of it. He comes back in eventually. You've got the hyperbolic time chamber, some great fights in between. And then, of course, the huge battle at the end, which would be considered the perfect Cell Saga, the Cell games, the final flash from Vegeta. Oh man, probably my favorite episode in all of Dragon Ball would be that final flash against Cell. There's something about it I just love. Vegeta allowing Cell to become perfect just because of his own Saiyan pride and thinking that he's the greatest, he's the most powerful in the universe. And the battles in the Cell Game Saga, some amazing stuff, man. Some great battles all the way through it. Even Piccolo had some really great fights here with 17 and Imperfect Cell. Even Tien getting in there, delaying things, mixing it up. Really great stuff with a lot of different characters. I really loved it. So to finish it all off, very surprising ending. And it was, which was that, of course, Goku is not the one to save the day. Well, he kind of is, but in the end, when it comes down to it, it's actually Gohan that is the one that defeats Cell. Of course, the final Kamehameha battle, I think, is absolutely beautiful. It's amazing. The blue and how Gohan with the one hand and then Goku, you can see him behind him and all the others join in and kind of in a joint effort are able to wear Cell down and beat him. Now, I do have a few criticisms about sort of the wrapping up or the final battle of Cell with this one. My problems with it is that it kind of goes back and forth too much and Cell self-destructs, but then he's still able to come back after. That to me, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about how that whole thing goes. Personally, I think it should have been shortened a little bit, and you should have just gone right to sort of the final fight. With Gohan and Cell. If you had Goku die earlier, have Cell kill him or something, or something like that. I think it could have been a little bit better. It tweaked it a little bit. I'm not saying that it was bad or anything. Don't get me wrong. It's my favorite arc. But I'm just saying that the ending little piece with the instant transmission, the self-destruct, him coming back to me, I felt like Cell came back too many times, if you get what I'm saying. Boo had this problem too, but Cell did as well. He kind of came back more than I think it made sense for him to, if I'm saying. That's probably my only criticism, though, of the entire story arc for the most part. In addition to that, I really love the Trunks stuff. I love at the end when he goes back to his time and he kills the androids and he kills Cell in his time. Man, some really great stuff. Because when you think of all the pain they caused him and everything they did, I really love to see all of that. One other weird thing I forgot to mention earlier was when Goku is so confident in Gohan's ability that he gives Cell a sensu bean. That to me, now people, yeah, you can compensate it, you can explain it that it's the Saiyan pride. That's what he believed that much in Gohan. But I mean, Goku does this sometimes. He makes decisions like that where it's like, does that really make sense? Was that a good idea? So to me, that's a little bit, that doesn't really make sense for him that he would do. That's kind of stupid, to be honest with you. Isn't it kind of, and now I know Saiyans kind of do that sometimes. They overrate their own strength, their own ability. We just talked about how Vegeta let Cell become perfect, which was one of those. But, I don't know. I never really liked that much, that part. Even as confident as he was in Gohan's ability, I never really thought that made sense for him to do that, and I never really liked that much. So that is one other thing. And yes, some people, I'm sure I'll get comments like this. People will explain it away and say, well, that's because, but you can explain it away all you want to. But personally, I don't think it makes sense that Goku would do that under those circumstances where the fate of, the whole planet and the universe is at stake. It's a little out of character that he would do that. You know what I mean? Even if he's got that kind of pompous Saiyan thing going and he believes in his son that much, I personally don't like it. So that's another little knock against it. But with regards to the good stuff, and there's a lot of good stuff, those are pretty minor complaints with the overall story arc. So it's got some great stuff for Gohan. It's got some additional great fights for Goku. I really love the beginning fight in the Cell games where you got the arena and everything, and him and Cell are going at it. That might be my favorite fight, one of my favorite fights in all of DBZ, where they're just flashing around, you can't even see them, and there's counter after counter after counter, and then Goku hits them with the instant transmission Kamehameha. Oh man, that Kamehameha is incredible. I'm so excited when you see that, because you're not sure if what he's doing is he's pointing it down towards the planet, and everything like that, and then he totally catches Cell with it. Absolutely awesome. So some really great stuff with regards to Cell as a character himself. I think he's really cool. Imperfect Cell being kind of creepy and not that strong, like not as strong as some of the others, I think is a nice twist for DBZ to have a main villain that's not always at the top. That kind of has to absorb the others in order to get there. And Vegeta accommodating him to do that, I think is in character for him, because he's always had that ridiculous pride thing, right? Whereas Goku hasn't always. I would say anyway. The androids are great. Trunks was great, and it's my favorite story arc overall for any of the main three. It's just got a lot of great stuff, a lot of awesome characters. The hyperbolic time chamber, a lot of great moments, a lot of great fights, and in this we kind of get that new hero. We get Gohan being the one to save the day versus Goku always doing it. Even though, granted, later on it kind of switches back in the Buu saga because Gohan doesn't really train very much, and he kind of lets himself go, to be honest. Because I think he's probably more powerful at the end of the Cell games as Super Saiyan 2 than he is for the most part at the beginning of the Buu arc. I would probably say, which doesn't make sense because he's a kid versus he's like a late teenager, that kind of thing, or at least a teenager. He should get stronger as it goes, but he really doesn't. He lets himself go, kind of. So anyway, pretty much my review for the Cell games. I gave ratings to the others. I'm going to give the Cell arc for a Dragon Ball review a 9.8. It's pretty damn close to perfect, but we'll take off those 2 points because of those two things I mentioned. Goku's weird decision there with helping Cell out, very strange. And in addition to Cell just coming back too many times, I think it felt unnatural. But aside from that, the androids, I loved all of them. I thought they were really interesting, really, really great to see. Vegeta and what was it, 18? Yeah, Vegeta at 18, awesome. All the others, just some really, really great stuff all the way through. So there's my review for the Cell story arc. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to see one for the Buu arc, let me know, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. See you for the next one. This is Trav, as always. I'm saying peace.